She sold 150 million records. She filled stadiums in every country on Earth. She changed pop music forever. And for 13 years, she could not spend her own money without asking for permission. This is not a story about a pop star who broke down. This is a story about what the world does to people when it decides it owns them. Britney Jean Spears was born on December 2, 1981. She grew up in Kentwood, Louisiana, population 2,000 people. One church. One main street. A lot of silence. But inside her home, the silence was different. It was the kind of silence that follows a loud argument. Her father drank. Some days he was warm. Other days he disappeared. Her mother spent years trying to hold the house together. Britney grew up always watching, always waiting for the next mood to arrive. Psychologists call this a hypervigilant childhood. You learn to read everyone around you. And you forget to read yourself. She found one escape. She walked into the woods behind her house. Alone, and she sang. Not for anyone, just for herself. That girl singing in the Louisiana woods was who Britney Spears really was. Everything that came after was something the world built on top of her. At age 8, she auditioned for Disney in Atlanta. They said she was too young, but someone saw something. She was passed to a talent agent in New York. A girl from a broken home in Louisiana was now in one of the biggest cities in the world. At 11, she joined the Mickey Mouse Club. Her co-stars were other young, talented kids. Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling. She shared a dressing room with Christina. She laughed with Justin. She has said those early days were some of the happiest of her life. Traveling with dancers, singing every day, goofing around with friends. But the schedule was brutal. Dance rehearsals, singing lessons, acting classes, recording sessions, school, all in one day. She was not a child anymore. She was a product being prepared for the market. She just didn't know it yet. She was too happy to notice. 1998, Britney was 16 years old. She recorded a song called Baby One More Time. When the music video came out, the world stopped. Her debut album sold 10 million copies in its first year. She performed at the Super Bowl. She opened the Grammy Awards. She won Best Dance Recording for Toxic. She danced at the VMAs with a live python draped across her shoulders. By 2003, she was the highest-paid female musician on Earth. Magazine covers, world tours, a Pepsi deal, a movie, everything at the same time. She was not just famous. She was inescapable. And here is where the story gets interesting. Fame of that size does not just change your life. It changes how you see yourself. At the peak of her fame, an entire country rescheduled a national election because of her sold-out concert. And yet she later said she never truly felt free during any of it. She was performing. Every single day. But she was not living. She was giving the world everything it wanted. And slowly, quietly, she was disappearing inside it. In 2002, her relationship with Justin Timberlake ended. He released music that many believed made her look like the problem. The world agreed with him. Because he was the one speaking. She stayed quiet. She came home to Louisiana. She could barely speak for months. Then something that shows her real character. She didn't disappear. She recorded In the Zone, one of the most creative albums of her career. Toxic became a global hit. A Grammy winner. A song still played today. From the outside, she looked fine. From the inside, she was building a wall. Brick by brick. Smile by smile. In 2004, she married Kevin Federline. The media laughed at her choice. But Britney didn't care. For the first time in years, someone liked her for who she was. Not for the albums. Not for the image. She had 2 sons, Sean and Jaden. Holding her babies, she felt something real. But the world would not let her rest. The marriage ended in 2006. The divorce. The custody battle. Cameras every single morning. Here is a detail most people never noticed. When a male celebrity attacked a paparazzo in public, people laughed. They called it entertainment. When Britney reacted to years of the same pressure, they called it a breakdown. The behavior was the same. The world's response was completely different. Because it had already decided what kind of person Britney was. By early 2007, Britney was in postpartum depression. 2 children in less than 2 years. Her husband had left. Her children were being taken from her. Her aunt, one of the few people she truly loved, had just died. And every day, cameras, flashes, strangers on every sidewalk. One paparazzo, who followed her for months, admitted she never once told them to leave. Then the moment happened. She walked into a hair salon in California. She sat in the chair. She picked up the electric razor. And she shaved her head. The photos were on every screen within minutes. The world laughed. Comedians made jokes. Magazines chose the worst images. But nobody said loudly enough, clearly enough, she was a 25-year-old woman who had just lost custody of her children. She was in postpartum depression. She was being followed by strangers every single day. And she was completely alone. The shaved head was not madness. It was the loudest thing she could do with her body, because her words had stopped being heard. 2 months later, her father walked into a courtroom. He said his daughter could not make her own decisions. He asked for control over her life, her money, her body. The judge said yes. Britney was 26 years old. She was legally no longer in charge of herself. Here are the facts. From 2008 to 2021, Britney Spears could not choose her own doctor, could not control her own medication, could not spend her own money freely, could not get married without permission, could not have a child. A birth control device was placed in her body without her consent. She was given a weekly allowance of $1,500 from her own $60 million estate. And during all of this, she performed a world tour, a television show, a 4-year Las Vegas residency. Her father and his team were paid over $3 million every year from her earnings. One attorney who specializes in these cases said clearly, "I have represented dozens of people in similar situations. Not one of them ever had a job. Britney had several jobs, all at once." She later said she was afraid to refuse work, because if she refused, her time with her children would be reduced. A mother, working not for money she could spend, but for the right to see her sons. In 2021, she finally spoke in court. Her voice was shaking, but her words did not shake. "I am not here to be anyone's slave. I am traumatized." The world finally listened. And what happened next changed American law. Because Britney Spears was not the only person living like this. She was simply the most famous one. On November 12, 2021, a judge ended the conservatorship. Outside the courthouse, her fans cried. Britney posted online, "Best day ever." She got married. She wrote her memoir. She told her story in her own words for the first time. But here is something important to understand. Freedom is not the same as healing. 13 years of control do not disappear on a court date. She wrote honestly about anger, about grief, about looking back at her life and not recognizing the person in it. She said her doctors had told her again and again, your mind is to be ignored. She had believed that for too long, and now, free at age 39, she had to learn to trust herself again. That is perhaps the most human part of her story. Not the breakdown, not the courtroom, but the quiet, difficult work of becoming yourself after the world spent decades deciding who you were. Britney Spears did not choose to become a symbol. She just wanted to sing. She was a girl in Louisiana walking through the woods making music for no one. Then the world found her. And the world decided she belonged to it. It bought her music. It watched her pain. It turned her worst days into entertainment. And when she finally broke it, called her crazy. But she was not breaking down. She was breaking open. All those years of performing without speaking. All those years of smiling without feeling. All those years of giving and never once being asked how she was. They had to come out somehow. The question was never, why did Britney Spears collapse? The real question is, why did it take the world so long to ask? Her story is not just about one woman. It is about what happens when a culture decides that a woman's job is to entertain, not to exist. When her image is worth more than her words. When she is allowed to break as long as she does it beautifully. She survived, not because the system helped her, but because she refused slowly, painfully, at great cost to disappear completely. And somewhere still there is a girl walking through the woods, singing for no one, just for herself. She was always still there.